Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 107. This podcast is about anything and everything related to Destiny the game. If you love playing Destiny as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we welcome ImTheBlueRanger along with jh0ward414 as we discuss new details on streaming Destiny 2 on PC, losing Rumble and Titan skating in Destiny 2, and when the new raid will release after launch. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's CyborgSasquatch, and I am joined this week by ImTheBlueRanger and jh0ward414. How you doing, gentlemen?
Well, hello. I'm doing well.
I'm doing good.
Great. Well, once again, our co-host, AER0KNIGHT, is out this week. He's somehow podcast dodging 2 weeks in a row. No, but he had a legitimate emergency this week and couldn't make it. I promise he's coming back. Don't get worried.
I haven't replaced my promise, guys. I know. Everyone's sick of me. I'm aware.
I promise that Blue Ranger didn't kill him and stuff him in this trunk.
Don't say things like that.
But you
don't
didn't.
But still it puts it in people's heads. Oh, Lord.
Howard, isn't your wife a cop?
Yeah, she is.
Boy.
She's sleeping, though. Don't worry about it.
All right, good. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. But thanks for joining us this week, especially on short notice, gentlemen. I think it's a great time to introduce everyone to our great friend, Jay Howard. If you've listened to the show and haven't had your head stuck under a rock, you've obviously heard his name before, and it's time that we brought him on for his grand debut to the DRP on episode 107. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Tell everybody who you are.
jh0ward414. I've been in Derp for a year now, I think. I've been here forever, it seems.
At least a year.
Yeah, at least a year. And I'm the one who always plays with I play with everybody, and I'm always dying I don't know. I'm a horrible Destiny player. I don't even know why I do this. But, well, everybody knows me as Guardian Down. That's my nickname. Yeah, it's true.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, my nickname is officially Guardian Down. And in trials, I'm known as JJ1Kill because I'll get one kill through a card.
Oh. Okay.
I'm horrible. I am awful at this game. Cyborg is,
but
you've only played with me
you have
once.
fun though, right?
I have a blast. I do.
Yeah.
And I try
That's
to
what matters.
I try to make it fun for other people to play with too, so.
Yeah. You do.
You're
great. You're a great teammate.
I take bullets for people.
There you go.
I know.
Mr. President, get down.
I'm a great distraction.
So what
What the heck is going on?
beyond gaming, what are you into, man? I know you for a few different things, but
Well, I'm an artist, graphic artist, and I'm in that whole scene, which I know we're going to talk about. I'm
the scene.
A musician, band. I played in bands for years and gave that up when I did the whole family life thing, and now just play video games, do art, and be a dad.
Hey, those are great things to do.
I love it.
Where did you get your start in gaming? Where do you hail from? What was your first system?
My first system was an Atari.
Nice.
Atari, yeah, and then Nintendo in grade school, Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I've always been one-sided though. Like I wasn't a Sega kid. I was a Nintendo kid. Just like now I'm a
Okay.
PlayStation kid, not a Xbox guy, you know.
Well, you're just wrong.
Yeah. But I actually come from fighting games. I was a huge fighting game person. I'm a big Mortal Kombat,
Nice.
Street Fighter.
Nice.
I was in tournaments growing up. And
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know
Yep.
that. What did you?
And
What tournaments?
I never
like
played
what
shooters.
games? Okay. But you've got the Twitch skills though. So what happened?
Yeah. I can do combos. I can do a 9-button combo to do a fireball, but that's about all I got.
Dude, Arc Strider should be right up your alley then. Did you hear about how the Arc Strider Super has combo moves?
Yeah.
That's gonna be right up your alley.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah. So how did you end up playing Destiny? What brought you there? You said you've never really played FPS, so.
I did have an Xbox 360, but I played Halo, and then I heard about Destiny through people. I never really got into Halo, but I had a friend who he started playing Destiny, and he was like, "You need to check this out." And I played it and I hated it. I didn't like Destiny at first.
Yikes.
Yeah, I just
good introduction, man. Way to go.
Well, I was
glad to have you on.
I've never played socially before with anybody, so I never got that whole part of the game. I didn't understand the social aspect of Destiny for a long time. I wasn't a PvP person or anything. I just played the story, and it didn't really hold on my interest all that. I was still playing Mortal Kombat X and whatever else in between all that. So
yeah.
But
so what made it stick for you?
I found a group and I started playing with them, and for some reason they were a salty group, but for some reason I thought that was the norm. So I just stuck with them. I'm like, yeah, I got friends. They all hate me, but I got friends here. That's great.
And, this is like real life.
Yeah.
And considering how often you died, I'm sure that went over great.
Yeah, no. And that's why I said I eventually quit, because I was so much in, I just felt so horrible about it all the time. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to play anymore. And then I found Derp, and I found the Derp fam, and that kind of rejuvenated it for me. And then I started really getting into it, really playing, regularly. Was after I joined.
That's great. So do you think that like the improved social circle, I guess, helped you feel better about playing? Like, was there some interaction that made it more positive for you, or was it just the act that you could like make friends and then play with friends and have fun that way? Like, what was it that?
The fact that the Derp fam like encourages people more. Like, if you do a raid and you mess up, they don't just say, "Oh, just go to orbit and we'll pull you through." They just get frustrated at you and they yell at you or whatever. The Derp fam guys will they'll laugh at you, but it's like a camaraderie laughing at you. It's more like you're going to have fun. And it's just, it was fun. When I first started doing raids with these guys, I went back, playing with like Holden Court and, Ben TB and all those guys. And we used to raid together. And yeah, I screwed up a lot, but they laughed at me and laughed along with me. And, and it was fun. It was fun to screw up. Like I was messing up, but it was a good experience still. And I never got discouraged.
Yeah.
So
that's good. I think, having that kind of camaraderie through the challenges, like that's what allows people to get better and allows people to have fun even when maybe the game isn't providing the fun that you would want, because it can be punishing. Like, I had my learning curves multiple times through the game, and if I didn't have like people I was playing with that would forgive me for it, I probably wouldn't play nearly as much as I have,
Mm-hmm. My first raid, I soloed Atheon.
Shut up.
Well, I remember even when like the first time I got to play, I was very intimidated by when the first time I got to play like trials with Palix and them's tattoos. Or like the first day that Arrow, invited me to do sweats. I was like, I hadn't met Terry yet or anybody. Arrow got a hold of me to play sweats, and I was so intimidated by that, because I was like, oh, these guys are really good, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold my own here, and everything. And it was so much fun, and that's what I love about it, and I still do. I enjoy it every single time I get to log in with these guys and play with them.
I think the ability to take the game seriously, but not take it so seriously that you treat people like crap, is what makes the difference,
For sure.
Which there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that just in life, let's be honest. But when you can bring people together that know the difference and know that it's more important to, place the value on the friendships than whether or not you beat this checkpoint or this boss or win this trials card. I think that's when you find something good. So I'm glad that you found that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing is that it's still a video game, and I'm a grown man, and I don't take this game all that seriously. I like doing it and I like having fun, but
Yeah.
that's what we do here. We just do it for fun.
Yeah, well, I think for a large majority of people, it's a hobby, meaning like it's a way that you blow off steam, and it's a way that you, engage with other people in a different way that you don't in everyday life. And like, it's fun. It can be fun to tackle challenges together, but ultimately it's about like, I sit here and boot this up because I want to have a good time tonight. Because I just had a really serious day,
Yeah, it's an escape for sure. But then, on the other side of it, we all became real life friends, and we all met at Guardian Con and everything, and that's, I think, what's really cool too is that what came out of it. The game started it, but in the end, we're all friends, and I love that aspect of it too.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting balance that Bungie struck when they made the game the way they did, because it's described by them as a social shooter. So there's an adventure to be had, but it's ultimately about the social interactions. But it's weird because they have choices, at least in Destiny 1, that restrict where you can be social and in what ways. But what that did was force people to build things themselves, to do what they didn't, you know what I mean? Like, even with the clans and what we did with our clan, like how we brought everybody into Discord or into GroupMe, like to create those interactions that we couldn't get through Bungie.net. Or just how people like form groups of friends, without a clan, because that's not always necessary. But it is ultimately about like forming bonds with other people and forming fire teams and raid teams and trials teams and all that. You grow these friendships out of. I think it's a really unique part of Destiny. That's why so many people play it and stick around.
That's where the Giggle Squad came from.
Yeah. Who is the Giggle Squad? Because not everybody knows.
That is myself, Got Turkey, and Hellcat 914. And that's just our, like, let's get together on a Friday night, have some drinks, and just be dumb for a night. And we just,
I can see a lot of dumbness coming out of this.
It is the most, one of us needs to stream it, because it is the most ridiculous spectacle of Destiny playing you'll ever see.
I kind of want to be a part of it just to like film it as a documentary.
Can we watch?
As a third party, just like sitting in the corner, like, no, just act like I'm not here.
Yeah. Well, I had the luxury the one time of being invited. They did an all-girl raid, and I got invited somehow to go and do that because I had to fill a spot.
Well, I mean, I hate to tell you, man, but
I forget who was all in that raid, but it was just legendary because it was just them laughing and giggling at everything. I mean, that's where the Giggle Squad, that's where the name came from, because Turkey and Hellcat, they just laugh at everything. So, it's just them.
I noticed that.
Yeah. So, and I'm just there. I'm just trying to keep them in line while they're drinking wine and trying to finish a raid or whatever. So it's entertaining.
Keep them in line while drinking the wine.
That works.
So tell us about this new thing that you've put together this year called DCA. What is DCA?
DCA is the Destiny Community Artist Group. And that is myself, Tyler Ryan, who his handle is TR Illustrates, and Faisal Meki. We run a group. Right now it's a Discord and a Twitter. And basically we just took all of the fan artists in the community and we put them in one spot. And we all just, we're in there, and we share art, and we share work with each other, and we inspire each other and stuff. So it was one of those funny things where we just decided to try it to see if we could get a bunch of artists together to game together and to talk and everything. And all of a sudden it just took us a life of its own. And now I think we have 65 artists in there.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's everybody. Anybody that you see basically on Twitter, that's been featured on Bungie, I mean, they're all in this group. And and, you know, same thing. We all became kind of closer friends, and now it's more like I said, we share art with each other. We critique each other and stuff. And it's, you have all these different art styles that are coming together, and, everybody's learning so much from each other. It's amazing the growth that I've seen in the past couple months with all that.
What kind of positive things do you think have come out of the group that you've observed?
I think some of the artists that are, you know, they're not as known in the community. They're just kind of, you know, doing their thing or whatever. Once they started getting involved and they started being able to talk to the more well-known ones, you know, I think that helped their, you know, self-esteem a little bit, and it got them motivated to start doing a little bit more and maybe showing off a little more or asking more questions. And that was a really big deal for us, was to, you know, to bring up some people that maybe the community just doesn't know yet. And now they do.
Yeah.
Now they're on Twitter, and you'll start seeing more and more of their artwork. I mean, like I said, people know, you know, there's Farian and there's Gamma Trap and, Matt Oishi. You have all these guys that, you know, people know. You see them all the time. But,
yeah,
you know,
if they don't know them, you've seen their work.
Yeah.
And you can know them by their work.
Exactly.
A lot of those guys.
Exactly. And if you know those guys, but then, you know, there's these other artists that, you know, are coming into the scene right now, and they're doing amazing work. But like I said, maybe they just don't feel like sharing as much, or they think, well, like, oh, nobody's going to like my work, so I'm not going to post it. But, you know, like I said, we've increased their confidence a little bit more, and, you know, and we're giving them a lot of positive motivation to share and to work and stuff like that. And that's been really cool. And, you know, there's collaborations happening and everything. And it's ridiculous what we're seeing now. And
I enjoy, like, following all this on Twitter. And every once in a while, like, I'll see, you know, you put up a tweet and you're like, this is so-and-so, they created a Twitter, like, give them a follow. And every time I, like, see this amazing work from an artist that I didn't know, and I'm just continually astounded by all these super, super talented people that love to do Destiny-related art and illustrations and design and stuff.
Yeah.
Such a great, you know, group of people. Do you think that, tell me about, like, the collaboration that happens in there. Like, I have to imagine, like, there's a lot of people, you know, artists, and they're kind of talking shop, and you get to watch part of their process. Is that an interesting part of being in that group? Yeah.
Learning, or like seeing the thought process that goes into, from like a sketch conception to, you know, to the finished product it's pretty phenomenal. And a lot of artists, will do time lapse drawings where you can watch them go from beginning to end, or you'll see like they do GIFs the same way. But
yeah, those are pretty cool.
They are. And that we've been seeing more and more of now, because people want to know that process. They love the finished product, but they want to see it from the beginning. So yeah, we've been seeing a lot more and more of that. But yeah, like, you know, we do have a lot of content creators in there, and the content creators can see, you know, like the podcasters or the, you know, the people like that, they can see so much, but there's a lot of that they can't see, that we kind of have in our own little private channels. Because we just don't want that to be out in public yet. And what we see in those channels, we see, like I said, it'll be like, you'll have one artist who will post something, and then another artist will come by and say, hey, you should try this. And then they'll, like, you know, kind of do their version of it. And then somebody else will critique it another way. And that just happened the other day. In fact, I saw somebody do that, where there was 4 different versions of the same picture from 4 different artists, and you got to see their take on it. And it was unbelievable. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And like, we have some artists where, like, artists will do like the line work, and then somebody will come in and paint it. You know, the cyborg, the picture that you received from me of that, of the little warlock or whatever. Steph, and she does things with an artist named Plain Ben, and where she'll do the line art, and Plain Ben will, paint it. Yeah. So they collaborate on that kind of stuff too.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've, all of you guys have been able to put together something really unique, that is going to do a great job to serve all those artists, and then also further all of their goals. And I think you're doing a lot to, help make people more aware of who's out there and give people exposure. And I think that's a pretty cool pretty cool thing to do, man.
Yeah, this past week, my people were probably getting sick of seeing my posts after a while because I just like shotgunned a bunch of artists out, of who you should follow and everything. And that was only a handful of the ones. I'm still working on trying to post some more, but it was for the reason that you said before about like maybe there's somebody that you never heard of that you can follow now.
Yeah. I've probably followed a couple dozen new artists in the past couple months, just like seeing all these really cool, like this just the artwork. And people, I guess because there's such a big fan base, like people relish so much when an artist will do a depiction of your guardian, or like the picture that Steph did for me and Aeronite, like of our kids, like so unique and original and personal. And that's something that we like. I don't even have an inkling of the talent required to create something like that.
Yeah, neither do I.
But I so much know what it takes and what that talent is, that it's so valuable to me. And so there's so many people, and content creators included, that value that talent that those people have. And I love being able to like, it's really cool that on Twitch there's a directory for artists to get into, and like they can do their art live on stream, which I find really fascinating because I'm watching and I'm like, God, you make this look so easy.
Right?
Like, it just blows my mind. Like
I watched when Steph was drawing your Warlock and Arrows Titan. I watched that from sketch to finished coloring. It was not on Twitch. It was on another art site that they use. But I watched that because I had to tell her, well, okay, do this with this color and this helmet and whatever. And I had to try to explain this. And then she had to come up with all the concept, like what angle was it going to be at? What lighting was it going to have? What was going to be with it and everything included. And it was amazing. It was amazing to watch her do that. And it was, and I love that. I mean, you can see a lot of the streamers, like you were just saying, that you watch them just paint something from beginning to end. And it's like you can watch it over a 4-day period and still be actively engaged in watching them do it.
Yeah. Oh, it's really, really great for, like, if I want something. So watching people stream a game, I find is a little more active, like mentally for me. But if I am like doing something, like I'm working at my desk or something, and I want to go to a stream and just chill, like I'll go to an artist stream because I can kind of go back and forth, and it's not as like, it's not as a mile a minute, like you're watching somebody create something, but it's so much more relaxing, especially if they have like a good set list playing.
Yeah, well, a lot of them don't chat either. They don't really have the time to, so they, or whatever.
Right.
So they don't. So yeah, it's just focusing on their art.
Right.
And I think that's really cool.
It's very like, it's very relaxing and like way more casual experience, but it's still really valuable, I find, and really cool.
Yeah.
Do you do some of that yourself with some of your design work, right?
I stream my art on Twitch only. It's mostly for the person who I'm doing the work for, because I find it's a lot easier where, if I'm doing a design for somebody, I can message them back and forth. I can, and be like, hey, do you like this purple, or do you like this, or whatever? Or, but watching it on Twitch, then I only have a 30-second delay between what I'm doing to what they can tell me. So they can be in chat with me. So that's kind of the reason I do it.
Yeah. When you were telling me about that, I was like, dude, that's awesome. That's brilliant. Like I have through my work, I have graphic designers that do work for us, and I wish all the time that I could just watch them do it and I could give direction to them on the fly instead of having to go back and forth 7 times.
Yes. Sending emails and messages it's such a tedious, because
it's a lot of work.
They could take a day, and then you're held on that design until they get back to you, but you do it live. Right. It's a lot easier.
Is there, and I'm not trying to say this is how you would feel, but if it were me, I would feel like a little bit insecure about doing that, like exposing my process, just because everybody has imposter syndrome, right? So how do you like, does it take a lot of confidence to be able to do that?
I have a specific style that I kind of follow, so people already pretty much will know what they're going to get out of me. So if I'm doing, if I'm doing a whole package for somebody, maybe their logo might change or whatever, but for the most part, how I do all my, all the different little pieces for Twitch or whatever, I think it's all going to be, it's the same but different. It's, like I said, I'm not really.
Your process is the same.
Yeah. So if you see one, you're going to see them all. I don't know. I think it might be different from a graphic designer standpoint than an artist who's doing their, giving up their whole, like, this is how I do things. I mean, there's thousands of graphic artists out there, and myself, I'm not doing anything outrageous. I'm doing, the basic stuff that you normally would. So, it was kind of crazy at first where I was more concerned, like, well, are people actually going to want to watch this? Like the Twitch syndrome where you're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to have any followers. I don't know if I'm going to have anybody that's actually going to want to watch me sit there and change colors for a half an hour. Yeah. But they do, and especially if I can get the client in there with me, it's very beneficial.
Well, tell us a little bit about where you lie in Destiny. What is your favorite class or subclass, and what is your favorite weapon in Destiny 1?
I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter through and through.
There we go. Yeah. We had a hunter on the show. You can all shut up now.
I have a hunter. I have 2 hunters and a titan. Sorry, Cyborg.
2 hunters and a titan.
I had a warlock.
No warlock.
I had a warlock at 400, and I deleted him because I couldn't stand him.
You murdered him.
Yeah, buddy.
I
knew I liked this guy.
So what I did was my hunter was my day one, right? The hunter that I have is my day one hunter, and I had my titan. And then I had a warlock, and the warlock I got up and I brought it up organically like everything else. And then I deleted it right after Rise of Iron and started my second hunter because I said I wanted to play the game completely from the beginning again by myself and just play it all the way through and level up naturally. I'm not using a spark. I'm not using anything. And I want to play the content one last time. So that's what my second hunter is for, is doing that.
How far have you made it through with that, Hunter?
Through the Dark Below. I think I'm in the House of Wolves stuff now.
Okay. So I still got a lot of ground to cover with the Taken King, yeah.
Yep. And that's what I want to do, though. I wanted to play the whole story. But, weapon.
All right, you got like 4 weeks.
Yeah. I doubt. Now with how busy I am, I really highly doubt I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite weapon is I'm a meta person. So, right now I do the Palindrome Icebreaker.
There you go.
My favorite though is the Vendor Roll Hung Jury, that came out a while ago. That's the one I use the most.
Solid gun,
yes,
man.
It is.
That's my gun.
I remember, they said when they were resetting the vendors and that roll was going to go away. I hadn't bought it yet. So I ended up staying up till, I don't know how late. I was grinding like crazy though to get the glimmer,
the marks and stuff.
Marks. Yeah, to buy it. I was, oh my gosh, I was like, ugh, if I don't do this, I'm gonna be so mad. And then I never used it.
I love
it.
Yeah,
I like at that point, if you didn't have it, you weren't missing anything.
that is my go-to for if I'm doing PvE. That is, I have that on me no matter what character I'm using. I have it with me. I love that gun.
Yeah, I think they did a great job with that particular role. Well, thanks for telling us so much about yourself, man. Glad people are able to get to know you a little bit. Let's try to kick off the rest of the show here. We've got one quick announcement. The Midwest meetup is coming up. The second annual Midwest meetup. It's held in Sedalia, Missouri. It's going to be September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Scorio70, an old-time derp guy, is hosting it. That's his hometown. He says if you're just going to come for one day, he would recommend coming Saturday the 23rd. If you would like to attend or just find out more about it, you can message him in Discord or on Twitter, and his name is SCOREO, so SCOREO70. And they've got a Discord server set up just for the event, so you can join that for updates and to talk to everybody that's going to be there. I think they had a pretty solid time last year. I know a lot of people made it out there, and had a really fun time. It's pretty chill, relaxed affair, mainly focused on just hanging out, gaming together, nothing too crazy. So it's a very low key event. I would recommend anybody that's in the Midwest or further, if you can make it, try to do so. I know, I'm pretty sure AER0KNIGHT's going to be there if you want to meet him. Who wouldn't?
I think I'm going to go this year.
You should, man.
It's like 8 hours. It's an 8-hour trip, but I think I should make it.
8 hours is not too bad.
No.
I mean, you can do that in a day. Get up early, drive out there, be out there in the afternoon, you'll be there.
That's what I figured.
There you go. I would like to go, but the timing is going to be tough. We'll see. Well, it's time for some news. You guys ready for some news?
Oh, yeah.
I got a fresh crop of articles all ready for everybody. Every time, the past 2 weeks, I'm like, guys, check out the news before we start. They're like, I wasn't aware of any of this stuff. Somehow I find all these articles, man. I just find
You got too much time on your hands.
I do. I dig deep. First, let's go to This Week at Bungie. This Week at Bungie, things are heating up. Mr. Cosmo wrote it up this week, and it's 5 weeks till launch. They mention that they're going to be at Gamescom next week. That'd be this week when you hear it. They're getting ready for their Destiny experience at PAX, which I wish I would make it for, but I will not. And then Deej was in New York City. From the look of it, I think they're doing press out there. Not 100% sure, but they had a few staff members out there. That's my best guess, because they wouldn't say why. But then a whole bunch of new articles came out. So I'm like, I think they're meeting with reporters. But they talked more about the PC beta, and we're going to be seeing some of this, same content that we saw in the console beta. So we'll see the Homecoming story mission, the Inverted Spire Strike, Countdown on Midtown, and then Control on a new map called Javelin 4. So that'll be something to look forward to if you're going to play on PC. And then we've got, well, did they talk about it here? We'll talk about that later. The other part of Destiny. Oh, here we go. It's next up. All right. This was a big point of contention this week, at least on Twitter. Exclusive to the PC build for Destiny 2 will be an issue that might impact the way you capture content or talk to your teammates. So, in answer to the question, what will Bungie be doing to prevent online cheating in Destiny 2? They explain that certain applications that you may use outside of the Destiny 2 game won't be able to interact with Destiny 2. Most notably, if we look at the Bungie Help article titled Destiny 2 PC and Third-Party Application Feature Compatibility, the biggest one that everybody was had their pitchforks out for was related to streaming and game capture. So if you stream or capture your experiences in Destiny 2 on PC, as of right now, OBS and XSplit will not be compatible. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I'd like to clarify, because that's not 100% accurate.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Their game capture function will not work. You will still be able to capture the game like you would anything else on PC with a display capture or a window capture.
Right.
But you will not be able to use game capture, which is the most comfortable, I would say, form of capturing through OBS, which is what I use. Yep. I don't know anything about XSplit, but it's the easiest. It's built into most games, and it won't be.
So what that does is your OBS or your XSplit basically points to just the application and not just what's on your monitor. So it's basically only watching and capturing the actual game application, as opposed to a monitor capture, which basically is capturing what's happening on your output to your monitor, and that is more hardware intensive, I think, is the big issue here, right?
That and when you back out and look at your dashboard or something like it's not a Steam game, but on Steam if you're doing a display capture and you go into your you alt tab. Is that what it is? Alt tab?
Yeah.
If you alt tab, then you're gonna, your friends list and stuff is gonna pop up and everyone's gonna see it. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but some people view it as extremely unprofessional and don't want it to be visible. There is workarounds regarding using a capture card, capturing your own PC back into the PC, and things like that, which totally reasonable ways to do it if you want to go that route. But, The biggest thing about it that got a lot of people up in arms was nobody else does this. There's nobody that almost every game it works with game capture. And at first when I read it, I was like, well, there's no big deal for this. Why whatever, it's not a big deal. And it's really not. But then I started talking to people who know more than I do, and they were like, there's just no reason to do it. You're basically making people's lives harder, saying that you're blocking cheaters. But the way that it works isn't necessarily there's ways around it, basically whitelisting the OBS hook that would make it so that this is a non-issue. And I asked them, well, what if somebody did make something like a wall hack? That's what they're trying to eliminate, is things like
aimbots, wall hacks.
Exactly. And what if they used OBS to make that? It is open source. And people much smarter than I might be able to do something like that. And they're like, absolutely. But when you do that, the hook that goes into the game and back to OBS and everything, again, guys, if you're sitting there going, that's not how it works, I'm trying to use the simple lingo that they use to explain it to me. They basically were like, square blocks go into the square hole. And I go, oh, okay. So I'm trying to give you guys the dumbed down version that I got. The hook changes, and if you only whitelist what it would be a vanilla OBS hook, then there would be no issues. And if somebody did try to use it to cheat, then it would change the hook, and the anti-cheating software included in the game would pick up on it and say, no, thank you. So that's where there's a lot of people going, why? Like, this seems like massive overkill. Nobody does this because it's such an easy workaround. And so I just came up to question, like, why did they do this? That's really why I wanted to know, and I haven't really got an answer yet.
Yeah. Well, so their explanation is this. They say, we resist attempts by third-party applications to insert code into the game client. This may result in incompatibility between Destiny 2 PC and the features of common third-party applications. And everyone's point is, like, yeah, that's great, but no other current gen games do this. They all support some sort of integration with Discord, with OBS, with XSplit, and don't seem to have issues with these types of things happening. Not that they're non-existent, but they're kind of behind the curve here, I think is the point. We're also going to see incompatibility with screen overlays with Discord and Mumble. So not that you can't use those services in the background, but if you have, a screen overlay that would hook into OBS or that would overlay the game, you're not going to be able to do that. Other hardware monitoring like frame rate and statistic overlays will not be able to function with Destiny 2.
Well, that's going to make my life a whole bunch easier, ain't it? They'll do overlays for people anymore.
Well, no, that's not. No, that's not what they mean. Overlays will still work on OBS. What that means is Discord offers I believe, an overlay function similar to like Xbox One, where you can now set it to see the party where people talk. It shows up in the top corner. So you can actually set that up on Discord so that people who are talking light up over your game. And it's they hook to go into OBS. So that should be completely unaffected by this, because that would, that'll be unaffected by overlays and everything for OBS is fine. This is simply talking about the game. Don't worry
over the game itself.
Howard, your jh0ward, your artwork will still be there.
Okay, good.
You're still in business.
Okay, good.
So I guess the long and short is they are kind of boxing in the game when a lot of developers don't have a problem with this. It's going to make it harder. It's not impossible for people to stream this game or to capture this game. You can have a second PC. You can very easily, like you mentioned, use an HDMI splitter for your monitor output and feed your output back into a capture card and capture directly from that. There's solutions. There's definitely solutions. If your rig's powerful enough, you can, do a screen capture and do it in full screen windowed mode or what have you, borderless full screen. My question is this, like they're bringing this up now, and obviously this will be the case for the beta. Do you think that it's just the fact that they haven't finished Destiny 2 on PC proper, and maybe this will change before it releases? Or do you think that this is going to be how it works when it releases in October?
So a couple of different thought processes for this. I don't think there's any one answer. I think that somewhere someone had pointed out that they said we're still working on it. So maybe this is just the fix for the beta. And when the full release comes out, that'll be different, and they will have whitelisted OBS and yada yada. Who knows? But my theory, which is going to be slightly unpopular, I apologize in advance, is Bungie has a tendency to overcorrect. Wow, shotguns are pretty powerful right now. Let's go ahead and make them useless. Yeah, cool. Let's do that. So they have a tendency to overcorrect, and I kind of wonder if their new foray into PC gaming, and before anyone yells at me about this, yes, I understand that Halo Combat Evolved was on PC. That was ported by Gearbox. That was not actually Bungie. Anyway, this is their first foray into PC gaming. I wonder if maybe they're just overcorrecting, and perhaps they're learning. I have no idea. There's any number of reasons for it. It just seems strange to me that this is the direction they chose to go. So who knows? Hopefully there's a solution that comes with the full release, and if there's not, well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
This kind of brings me back to Destiny 1 conversations that I had about minimum viable product. Are you familiar with that term?
I am not, because I'm an idiot.
All right. So in the commodities industry, there is a term called minimum viable product. And if you think back to the early releases of the iPhone 1, 2, 3, and how over the course of releases, at first it was a very basic device and you couldn't do simple things like copy and paste or multitask or switch between applications. The concept of minimum viable product, basically you put out the minimum that you can to sell the product for what it is. So if we're putting out Destiny 2 on PC, we're going to put it out with just the features that make it Destiny 2. And even though it's on PC, we're not going to build in integration, for third-party applications. We're not going to build in X, Y, Z, all these different things that PC players might ask for. We'll put out the absolute minimum it takes to get it to retail and to push the sales, and then you just listen. And what the vast majority asks for and says is lacking, you then, for future iterations, focus your development time and your financial resources on building in those features. And what it basically does is conserve resources so that you don't spend time on a product working on a feature that may or may not be desirable by the end user. It's very smart in some ways. It's also, kind of counterproductive, in others for people that can kind of see through that. Like if you look at the original iPhone, like people would talk major smack about it because they're like, yeah, great iPhone, but it all I can do is make a call.
Yeah, right.
It can do XYZ, but it completely sucks as a multi-use device. Now, look at it now, it can do a wealth of things, but that's because they started it with a very, very basic model, and over the years listen to what people wanted and slowly build those out. And before you know it, like, you're celebrating because you can copy paste now. It's completely ridiculous, but it makes me wonder if that is their concept with this, because that's essentially what they did with Destiny 1. They had to retool and basically completely redo the game at some point in development. I think everybody's aware of that. And they followed the minimum viable product model. I've heard their developers reference it in how they had to do that with Destiny 1 and how they didn't want to continue to have to do that. But this kind of makes me think about that some.
Makes
where
sense.
I could see down the line, like, if this takes resources to do and do well, it's easier for them to say, no, we're not going to have that out the gate. We're going to put it out, and then later on we'll patch it in, because it's, they're focused on getting the game out the door. Is it the best thing for the community? Probably not. I think it's going to aggravate a lot of people, but there's workarounds. But I think that might be their philosophy with this. So hopefully we can look forward to this not being the case down the line.
Yeah, and even if it is, it's not the end of the world. If people are familiar with my Twitter conversation, I feel like I came off as like a really angry person in all of that. I was not. I was trying to like show that there's other ways to talk about this and stuff. It may have started a little bit more gruff than it needed to, but by the end I was hoping to have more of a conversation. And I think it got there, but the point is that it's not the end of the world. It's not really worth, fighting about, but it's definitely something that I wonder why they made the choice that they did. So I look forward to seeing and hearing more about this as the full launch of the game, gets closer.
Yeah. Well, and I sincerely hope that this is with enough feedback from the community that they may reconsider this choice. I think that there's still time to do so. They're 4.5 months out from PC release. If we're talking about October, August, September, never mind. I can't count. That's December. 2 months, 2.5 months. You can do it, Bungie. We believe in you. And who is it that's working on the PC port? Vicarious Visions, if you guys are listening. Got to make this happen. Moving along, because that's a whole thing. Destiny player support announced there is going to be some downtime this Tuesday, August 8th from 8 a.m. Pacific until 12 p.m. Pacific in preparation for Destiny 2. There'll also be some Bungie.net and Destiny Companion features unavailable at that time. And they talk about some of the changes with the Companion app group and clan chat functionality. You will be able to have group wall messaging. Clans will also have a chat with several new features that will be revealed before the new system goes live. I found that interesting. That could be cool. I wonder if they're going to have a live chat option for clans, because that seems to be like the biggest thing that's lacking in their system, which has pushed a lot of people towards stuff like Discord, obviously. If that was the case, do you think that you would see a lot of people move to that?
Probably. I have a hard time sympathizing with that because I sit at this big streamer setup and I hate in-game chat on all levels from every game and every developer. So when people are like, hey, well, we're going to use game chat, is that all right? I roll my eyes, give a big solid, ugh, and then switch to it. As I'm sure you're very familiar, Cyborg.
We don't even use game chat. We use party chat. And you complain about it.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. I like Discord so much better from the streamer perspective. So that's my point, is that I can't
understand.
Really. Do I think that people would like that? Yeah, sure. Why not? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't use it because of my situation, which is very much so less than 1% of gamers on every level. So do I think people would like it? Yeah, sure. I have a hard time commenting on it.
Well, so there's like 50, how many million users on Discord now? I don't remember the exact figure. I'm pretty sure it was like
Discord's a totally different animal, and there's a lot of people pretty much waiting for it to fail financially. So I have no idea where they're at. I don't know how long it's going to last, but their funding runs out in like a year or two.
Yeah.
And
they're trying to get acquired. That's the way I would see it.
I would assume so, but give me a way that they're monetizing this.
Right.
Where right now Twitch has the Twitch app, which I don't like as much by any means. In fact, Twitch, get your crap together. But it does rival I almost said Destiny, Discord, and I wonder if they're gonna have really any chance of competing with the Twitch app, which obviously has income from other sources. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Maybe just a text chat would make some sense, you know?
Yeah.
That we'll see. And then they talked about Destiny 1, content consolidation. They're going to have some features that are going to be removed, retired, or consolidated. There's a legacy support guide for Destiny 1 if you're interested in that. There may be some help content that is retired. I find that interesting. That you'll just find a 404 page for. And then they're going to have contact forms for silver issues. For people if they're still trying to buy silver when Destiny 2 comes out. There's a help article for Destiny 2 account and character migration that I think is worth talking about a couple things here. It basically explains how all of your account and character data will migrate to Destiny 2. So basically, as of August 1st, whatever you completed in Destiny 1 is going to qualify or not qualify you for certain rewards that they're providing, like the emblems we've talked about before. You had to have that stuff done by August 1st in order to earn those. So wherever you were at that point, that's what you're going to get. They had a little FAQ here, and I think one of the most important things was, will players be able to edit their migrated characters' customization options in Destiny 2? The answer is no. There's currently no plan to allow players to edit the customization options of an imported character. So, if you're planning to get a new face on your Warlock, Titan, or Hunter when Destiny 2 comes up, you're probably going to have to start fresh. But from what I understand, the emblem rewards are account related, not character related. So if you completed them, you don't have to use those same characters. I think you can create new characters, and the emblems you'll be able to retrieve as long as you're on the same account. So another important thing, your silver balance in Eververse purchases will not be included in the character migration. So if you got silver, probably want to go spend it now. I think I've got like $20 of silver sitting in my account.
Yeah.
That I just gave to them, and I'm going to have to spend it on something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just give me a refund or something. Let's see. So that was pretty much most of the TWAB. We got a few articles here that I found interesting this week. There was one about Bungie's 13-year battle to end crunch culture. They did a talk at, what is it called? Let me pull this article back up. It's kind of like I wouldn't say a conference, but it's like some kind of event. And they talked pretty in depth about, so it's called Casual Connect USA was where they were.
Oh,
and
okay.
The head of engineering, Luke Timmons, talked about the brutal experience of finishing and shipping Halo 2, which if you're even a little bit familiar with, there's a whole legacy story about Halo 2, about the infamous level that got cut out of Halo 2 and their development of that. And they talk very in depth about crunch culture, how it affected games that they made. They explained that the last thing that they allowed crunch, which they defined crunch as working 50 or more hours a week, was putting out Destiny 1. And since then have not allowed crunch to happen in their studio, which frankly, like, surprised the heck out of me because crunch is a pretty huge part of development culture. I was actually surprised to hear that they don't crunch anymore. I think it's pretty outstanding they've been able to eliminate that, but it makes me wonder, like, that's great, but what size developer do you have to be to make that happen? And how much of the ability to do this relates to the fact that you can hire enough people to allow that? Like, they say their engineers are required to take 40 days off a year of vacation. 40, that's like 5 weeks. Wow. So their engineers get 5 weeks of vacation a year. And they require them to take the vacation. Which, I mean, is fine. That's great. I mean, as an employee, like, those are great benefits to have, and I'm not downing any of this at all, but I'm just looking at it like, if you're a small developer, like, you don't get those options. And I think it's great that they've been able to grow into a company that can provide that, and they have enough redundancy to be able to do those things. But like, what they do, I think, is entirely unrealistic for smaller developers, because you can't have enough overlap of specialties for people to take off the kind of time or to not work the time it takes to put out games sometimes. It's a real problem.
When you look at teams like who put together, what was it? Why can't Hyper Light Drifter? It was like 6 people. So, yeah. And they were pushing that. It was like life's work. The guy was, he was battling a heart disorder and stuff at the same time. Yeah. That's what that game's about. And he was just like, it's some pretty serious stuff. Like, putting all of your effort and hard work into this game, and Hyper Light Drifter ended up winning, like, Indie Game of the Year. It's a very good game. I can't get into it, but I've heard nothing but great things. But point being that not every team is even capable of, allowing for vacations. So, right. Being, for lack of a better term, forced to go on 5 weeks of vacation, it's not a bad thing.
No, it's great. What they explained that made the difference for them is they started to think about people management as a craft. And that started with Halo 3. And they designed a whole system of how they manage people that changed. And it took them almost 13 years to work crunch culture out of their entire organization. So they've obviously made it a big fundamental part of how they do business. And I think that that's really respectable. I think it's a big stride for the industry that they were able to do that. And I'm impressed. So good job, Bungie.
Good job, Bungie.
GG. There was an Activision earnings call that I completely missed that this was even going to happen. But in this, CEO Eric Hirschberg mentions that, I'll quote, "Maybe most importantly with a game like this, Destiny is so engaging that the follow-up content is almost as important, if not more important, as the main game." Continues to say, "We've completely changed our approach to tackling that by widening our stable of AAA developers so that we can keep up with the demand." Relating there to High Moon Studios and Vicarious Visions, who they have brought on to help. I think, as they've explained, Vicarious Visions is working on the PC version of Destiny 2, and High Moon Studios, I believe, is supposed to be supporting Bungie and creating the DLC content. So I think it's great that they are focusing on the life cycle of Destiny 2. I think that's a good sign.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and they're basically focusing on the legacy of the game, which it's fantastic. I mean, yeah. I don't really have a whole lot more to comment on that. It's nice to see them so focused on improving upon every step of the journey, because obviously if you can like this part, you should like that part. So
right,
in the dumbest terms that I can possibly put that in. So I appreciate
well, the biggest
that concept.
Outside of the state that Destiny 1 Vanilla was released in, the biggest challenge that Bungie faced was their support of the game after that. The droughts in between content, the lack of a map, and the ability to execute on continued content. So I find it really encouraging, and I hope that we can look forward to like maybe a solid year of great content regularly being released for Destiny 2. I don't know if that's going to actually happen, but I'm remaining positive. The Age of Triumph's code, if you're looking to pick up the shirt related to that, they extended the redemption process through August 31st. So if you're trying to get that shirt, you can still redeem your code until August 31st and buy it from the store. Good news for anybody. I know there was a bunch of people trying to get it at the last minute. There's some questions over if it was going to work after the first. So they have extended that if you're trying to pick it up.
I actually bought mine the last day you could buy it, looking at my bank account going, there's no way. There's no way I can make this work. I'm just going to push it out there, just whatever. Fine, I'll deal with the consequences. Then I find this out. And so now I'm like, oh, crud.
I think a bunch of people were. That stinks. Last, there was an interview with the Daily Star, which is worth noting in the UK is pretty much a tabloid, but that's okay. Lars Bakken had an interview where they talked about the Crucible. Couple highlights there. They did confirm Trials of Osiris is 4v4. I think that's obvious, but that's all he would say about Trials. They specifically asked him if we would, in the future, possibly even see any 6v6 or Rumble, and Lars pretty much shut that down and said we would have to rework so many parts of the game, it's just not even going to happen. So he's like, I don't want to crush anybody's dreams, but 4v4 is how it's going to be from now on.
So they're not doing any Rumble?
No Rumble at all, dude.
That's going to hurt.
Wow!
I know.
What the hell kind of choice is that? Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing. Point being, that's how I feel about that. You out of your minds, Bungie? That was one of my favorite game modes. Oh,
I feel like Rumble could have been included.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? That's huge misstep. Huge misstep. People loved Rumble. Oh, nope.
I think
I have nothing else to say on that, so I'm just going to stop.
I think that it's possible that Rumble could be one of those playlists that's while it is lauded and very, appreciated by a certain percentage of the community, I'm willing to bet that there's a large percentage of the community that would never step foot in there. And if they're looking at playlists and the population of this playlist saying we can do extra work to keep this or not, and you're looking at even just 10% of people that playing it, it may not seem like it's worth it to them.
But it also means that they don't think that Iron Banner is going to be coming back then too, right?
They haven't said.
Or if it's going to be 4v4. I don't see them doing that 4v4.
Obviously, it would have to be 4v4.
Yeah.
That's such a huge, there's no variation, period, in team size. Period. That is...
Or doubles. I love playing... I like playing doubles, too. I mean, I love...
doubles is great. I think back to the legacy of Bungie and the games that they make. We're talking big team battle, 8 versus 8. We're talking about 4v4 style. We're talking 6v6 in Destiny, 3v3 Trials of Osiris, skirmish, salvage. Through the legacy of Bungie, I would love to know more about that decision at this point. I knew that they were focusing a lot on 4v4. I didn't realize that it was the end-all, be-all. That is
certainly seems to be their stance at this point.
That's extremely disappointing. I am shocked by this. This is news that I am just now learning, and I am utterly dumbfounded by it. I cannot believe that is the direction that this company of all companies went with. So, I don't know. We were hoping they would bring Big Team Battle to Destiny 2. So.
So much for that.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's disappointing for some. Lars quotes, they ask, their question is, so it's not something you guys might revisit or rework in the future? Like, could we see 6v6 return, but maybe on a larger map? Lars' response, I think at this point it would be very difficult to go back to those types of experiences, and the reason I say that is because the entire game was created around this 4v4 focus. I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, double the team size, or create bigger maps? It's not like we couldn't do it, it's just that there are so many things that are fundamentally reliant on how the systems connect. It would be pretty difficult to do. Sorry I have to break fans' hearts. I believe the experience is so good that I want them to play it and see it for themselves.
Did they say anything about raids?
Not in this article.
I would assume that raids would still be 6s. I mean,
I think they've said enough, alluding to 6-man teams and raids that,
okay.
Yeah, I think that they're still going to be a 6-man activity. I think that would be a big enough change that they would come out and say that. If they were like, hey, by the way, everything is 4v4. But I think what he says what he's trying to say when he says the whole game is the whole Crucible.
Sure.
And it might have a lot to do with balance issues, like how they decide to balance, timers on certain powers and how the maps are built, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not like it absolutely couldn't be done.
Not happy.
At the end, they bring up esports, and they ask, if there's a chance that we're going to see Destiny in esports. And Lars's position is that they ultimately want the players to decide if Destiny is going to be a place for that, and if that's the case, then they're going to focus on it. But he says they don't want to presume that will be the case from the beginning. They do want to make the game more comfortable in a tournament setting. So I think they're just basically saying, yeah, we're not going to put all of our money on that just yet.
Well, I mean,
smart.
As much as we enjoyed watching Destiny in competition form at GuardianCon, I don't think that the broad spectrum appeal is there, because if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't understand. Like, when I watch CSGO, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's people with guns, they shoot each other. When you're talking Destiny, you gotta learn, like, the respawn timers with the supers and the cooldowns and the, where to push, what Titan skating is. Like, there's so many things that are so different than any other game in the esports arena, with the exception of Splatoon, which, man, they are trying to make esports, and I don't see it happening, but they are trying. There's so many, the esports games that I'm most familiar with, are easily read. Games that are easy for people to get into from the point of view of a viewer, not just from a gamer. And Destiny is not the easiest one to learn. I think the only reason that Overwatch got the acceptance and whatnot that it did was because it's got the Blizzard title behind it. I one of the things that I've said for a long time is who the developer is for these games. It matters a lot. For instance, I don't think Destiny would be a game that we're talking about at all right now if Gearbox had made it, and I stand behind that. I don't think that anyone would care about Destiny if Bungie hadn't made it. And so, because of that kind of stuff, Blizzard was able to get Overwatch into the forefront. Like, Blizzard is finally making a shooter. This is a big deal. But when it comes to Destiny, you basically have to find an audience, pull them in, teach them what they're looking at, and then expect them to get excited about it, or hope that they do. So there's a lot of steps, I think, into making it an esport that is widely acceptable.
Well, I think they took some pretty broad moves in the Crucible heads-up display that makes the game way easier to read, not only as a player, but as a spectator.
True.
To know what's going on. have a better read for if you drop into the middle of a match, like know what's happening, who has what, who's doing what. I think they've done a good job there. They moved it to 4v4, which is a more comfortable, competitive setting that most people are used to from other games. So I think they're making the right, taking the right steps to enable that to happen. And I think their point is like, okay, we did this, but we're going to have to see how well it's received before we try to say, yeah, Destiny Esports, because obviously Destiny 1 needed a ton of work for it to be viable as an quote unquote esport. So, I mean, there's always going to be tournaments and stuff, but it's not going to be in the realm of other games that we see that are way more popular in that arena.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
agreed.
I have to see how the 4v4 plays. I got to see how
that
works out. But I mean, on a bigger scale, I know that I've played it, but I've played it with a bunch of people playing a beta. I know.
I think
don't give me that attitude, Cyborg.
All right. I think it's got a ton of potential. I'll be eager to see what happens from that. I'll never be a part of that community, but I support it if it exists. I find it interesting, and I'll definitely be a spectator of it and enjoy it, So, all right. Well, that is all the news for this week, gentlemen. Unless one of you wants to announce that you've had any major life changes or that you're moving to Alaska to live with wolves. Any of that here?
I have family.
No.
I have family in Alaska. I could move up there.
So it's viable.
It's possible.
My parents' honeymoon was in Alaska.
Guys, you're focusing too much on the Alaska part of that.
This is what happens.
And not as much on the wolves.
Why are we way more focused on Alaska than the wolves?
This is true.
It's kind of funny.
All right. I'll pitch this to you, Jay Howard. How was your reset?
It was actually pretty good. I haven't played Destiny in a while. I've been so busy doing art and everything and just, just with life in general, but I decided this past week to jump in.
It's the last ever Iron Banner.
Yep. And I wanted to get in on with that. So I was persuaded by my Giggle Squad partner, Hellcat, to come in and, we did a little 1v1ing and, some private matches, and she whooped my butt. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
She did.
Guardian down.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But, and then we were joined by a bunch of Dirt Fam, and we ended up with this like half-hour long marathon private match that was just insanity. We were so tired of it by the time it was over. We could have quit at any time, but we just.
Did you? What game mode was it?
We played Clash. We played,
and
it was.
I always played half-hour Rumble, and I wanted you to say Rumble so bad so I could be like, see, Bungie!
And all it was just, because, I haven't played with Businessman in a long time, and all it was him basically hunting me down with a shotgun and just finding more and more creative ways to shoot me in the face. But no, we did that, and then we played Iron Banner. So I got to play some Banner with the crew, and that was really fun. And then I had to sign off, but it was good. If that was the last Iron Banner and I got to do it with some fam, I was pretty happy with that. So that was
good.
That was all I really got in. I didn't really get much else. I wish I could have played more, but I'm going to be playing these next couple of weeks. I'll be in and out more.
Yeah, get it in while it's good, man.
Yeah.
Before you'll know it, you'll be looking back fondly on Destiny 1? I don't know. We'll see.
Wondering what happened.
Yeah. Blue, how was your reset, man?
Reset was good. I just like everyone else, jumped in to celebrate the last Iron Banner and frankly to give Destiny 1 its final hurrah. And it was cool. We did a little bit of a Dirt Fan Banner night on Tuesday. And it was really, shout out to Dreadnought. He came by, we played for a while, and it was a good time. But the one thing that I couldn't help but notice, and now that I've played Destiny 2, both at the DRE and with the beta, is it made me realize just how much I'm going to miss Titan skating. And it isn't just from the point of view of like, you know, I enjoy Titan skating and I want to, you know, what is it? I always called it warrior, but then people started calling it aping because warrior was
that's
too
what it
nice.
used to be called.
I like to, you know, oh, you just want to ape into people. Nah, no, I just like the faster movement. I like getting back into the game faster. Kind of like if you've ever played Paladins versus Overwatch. Paladins has a very quick get back into the action mechanic once you die by giving you a mount. Instead of just running from the spawn point, you actually get a mount.
Oh, interesting.
Get there. Yeah. So try Paladins. If you like hero shooters, Paladins is very good and it's free. That being said, I realized just how much I really enjoyed Titan skating and how slow the Destiny 2 beta really did feel after all, playing as a Titan where I'm so used to, you know, jumping around and skating around corners and stuff. And, you know, still mega excited for Destiny 2. Don't get me wrong. I really, really am. But I'm gonna really, 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 really miss, the current mobility of the Titan. So.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice that because I hadn't played Destiny 1 since playing Destiny 2 beta, and I don't even think I played that much Destiny 1 between the DRE and the beta. So it was it just made me think a little.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think the mobility is what a lot of people are going to miss. I think that's part of what makes or made Destiny 1 so different and addictive. Is the pace that you could get out of the game if you knew how, would be pretty insane. I mean, if you watch some guys that are really, really skilled with their Titans and or Hunters, you know, what you could do beyond, you know, the average skill level was pretty impressive. They've really slowed that down in Destiny 2, and that's going to be good for some. We've talked pretty in depth about, you know, the changes of the dynamics between team-based play and stuff, so.
Does Destiny 2 still have the Warlock floof, though? Is it still there?
Oh, it's more like a float.
It's less of a floof now, more of a float?
Yeah, it's more just like hang in the air for about 30 seconds.
Okay.
It's rough.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
It was upsetting for me. So yeah, I think I'm gonna miss those options too. I've played a lot on a Titan the past however many months, and I like how fast I can get around, and it's definitely slower in Destiny 2. And they've made some changes. They've mentioned like even how fast you run and some things like that are faster or slower in some cases. We don't know exactly, but they did say it was different than the beta that we played. So I'm interested to see what the ultimate game plays and feels like. You know, is it going to be a little faster? Is it going to be a little slower in some cases? Will some of the jumps be adjusted? I think there's probably not going to be any skating or surfing. That's for sure. So we'll miss it. We'll miss you, Titan skating.
It's upsetting because I just learned how to like get good with that.
Yeah.
Like it took me forever to figure out Titan skating because, like I said, I'm a hunter main, but I finally figured it out, and now it's
once you get it, it sticks.
Yeah, and now it's gonna be gone.
Yeah. Well, I had a pretty busy
I was
week.
just gonna say, Cyborg, how was your reset? But you didn't give me a chance. There was no pregnant pause.
I don't like pregnant pauses. I hate them.
You need arrow back. You need arrow back so bad.
I can't deal with pregnant pauses. I just start talking.
I've been hanging out in your stream, so I've seen your reset. So I've been hanging out.
Yeah, you've watched. A lot of people have watched it because I stream now. That's a thing. What have I done? I played a lot of Iron Banner this week. A lot with the Derp fam. I had a pretty good time. Enjoying some final PvP. I had a bunch of matches for the Sweat Tournament League that I'm in. We won this past one. The last one before that, we lost by 1 kill on Anomaly. They were 1 kill ahead, and a couple of us wiped, and they ran to the back of the map where like the Moon Rover or the Jeep or whatever it is and hid, and we couldn't get there before the timer expired. They played it perfectly. So they won the whole series by 1 kill. It was brutal.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because it was like best of 5. So you had to win 3 matches. I think we were tied like 2-2 or something like that. So it was whoever won that match, and it came down to 1 kill. It was tough. But that's okay. We're going to play him again. All it is like playing for seeding in the tournament is basically what we're doing. So it just determines what place that you start in and who you play. So it's not really that consequential in the end.
You might say in the end it doesn't even matter.
Oh, too soon.
That's too soon.
Too
man.
soon.
What are you talking about? I'm allowed to quote a song that came out when I was 13.
Fresh wounds, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Okay, fine. Never mind. Guys, don't quote Prince. Don't quote anybody. Don't quote the Beatles. Don't quote. It's fine.
It's been
whatever.
long enough for those guys.
Nope. You just can't quote songs from anyone who's died ever. Nope. Can't do it.
All right. New rule. You must only quote living artists.
Which means we'll be able to quote the Rolling Stones forever because Keith Richards will never
Oh my
die.
gosh. Have you guys heard the conspiracy theory about Mick Jagger?
No.
So there's a conspiracy theory that the company that owns the rights for like the Rolling Stones catalog, like the publisher, they basically paid a whole bunch of artists to bring up Mick Jagger in their music. Because there was all these songs in the same year, I think it was like 2013 or 2014, that brought up Mick Jagger. Like you got the moves like Jagger or swag like Jagger and all these things. It just, for some reason, just happened. So the conspiracy is like they're working to try to keep him relevant and like had all these artists build him into the song so that they could do tours and make more money. It's kind of absurd, but it makes sense.
That would explain why Kesha put it in there.
Yeah.
See, there you go. She had one too. And but honestly, like, why would you write about Mick Jagger in a song?
Because he's amazing. He's a legend, man.
Care for the Rolling Stones.
You get out of this podcast right now. I will pull
no.
it over right
Should
now.
we bring up that you hate the Beatles?
I don't like the Beatles. So what?
You're a terrible person.
But they stole all their music.
You're a terrible
Zeppelin,
person
so.
if you hate
Why?
the Beatles.
Why am I a terrible person? Why? Oh.
Why am I a terrible person if I hate the Rolling Stones?
Because the Rolling Stones are a
so
UK
annoying.
treasure.
Are you two done? Are you good?
I guess so. What's your opinion on the Rolling Stones and the Beatles?
He's like, I clearly just don't want to get involved.
I'm one of the people that like just wait. I'm just watching with bated breath, watching Keith Richards. Like he's the only one that I'm just like,
gonna take?
Wow, he's still he can still play. He's still smoking. He's still good.
Seriously.
I know.
Anyways. I don't remember why we started talking about this, but I had some big news this week worth mentioning. I got my
New
affiliate
baby?
status. No, God.
Yeah.
No, thank God. I am now affiliated with Twitch. Got that email this week. I think it was Friday. Didn't expect it so soon. I know that I had hit some of the qualifications in July, but I expected like maybe a month to pass before they sent me an email, but they did it pretty quick. So did all my stuff and had a sub button Saturday. So there you go.
See, with you, it was great because normally people get affiliate, then they call me and they say, hey, I need a bunch of stuff made for me.
Oh, yeah.
See, yours, we already did. We did that a long time ago, so we were good. I'm fine.
Totally
now.
Prepared.
Yep.
Except the fact that I had no idea what I wanted my emotes to be.
See, and I don't do emotes though, so you'll have to get like Con or somebody to do emotes.
Yeah. That's in progress, but
right,
there'll be some cool emotes. Absolutely, there will be a DRP emote, probably for the $4.99 sub if you're interested in that sort of thing. So, Saturday night, last night, because we're recording on a Sunday, did my first affiliate stream and wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to all of my new subs. And for those of you that dropped some bits, some itty bitties, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. But Tuesday, which is today, if you're listening, I will be back live. If you want to come stop by the stream and help me celebrate being affiliated with Twitch, I was pretty excited about that. cool thing that I was working for. So come hang out. Come drop me a follow. Throw some bits at me. Throw some pennies. It's a fun
Come
time.
to my stream and pay me.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how this works, right? I get affiliated, you give me money.
It is true, though. It is kind of fun if you just do bits one at a time. Dirt Fam, this is a nice key if you're going to do this for Cyborg.
This happens.
Throw bits one at a time.
This was happened to Blue a lot.
Yeah. Just throw them one at a time and spam them one at a time. The alert will not stop going off, and it's just like chucking pennies at his head. It's great.
Yeah, I just want you to know there's a minimum for that, so...
You set a minimum? Wow,
course
someone
I
thinks
did.
they're special. Holy cow.
No, because I don't want to get spammed 1 cent at a time. I fully expected there to be trolling, so I said, nah, you're going to have to tip me a quarter if you want to troll me. You're going to have to pay to play.
Wow, this guy.
Yeah.
This
Whatever,
guy.
man, it's my stream.
Hey, pro tip to new streamers out there, most people who can farm bits can't get 25 at a time. So, anyway, congratulations, Cyborg.
It's whatever, dude. I don't need your nickels.
Wow!
I could get that out of the couch.
Guy! Oh, you have so much to learn.
I'm just being a
love you.
smartass. Yeah, so that was the thing, and, we did some PUBG this week. That's always fun. Shout out to all my folks that like to revive me in PUBG and let me use up all the med kits.
And shout out to Sir Kaze, who totally didn't deserve to die.
That's not going to die, is it? We're just going to keep bringing that back. Did I tell the story?
I don't think you did.
I think I told the story on one of the shows.
Maybe. I don't know. But basically...
I basically went into bloodlust, and Kaze ran out and got downed by these two guys that were rushing our building, and I came around the corner with a UMP, and I dropped him. And I saw this guy crawling towards me, and I thought he was one of them, because I thought Kaze was just completely dead. So I thought he was one of the bodies. And so I look at him, reload, and just drop him. And then I hear like a silence, and then he goes, "Why did you just kill me?" Just go, oh my God.
This was after I got off, of
Yeah,
course.
this
So
is
I was like, good, I
game
got
after
off
you
just in
got
time,
off.
huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a learning curve with all this stuff. You're going to do some stupid stuff. He forgave me, though, but he's not letting it go. See, he forgave, but he didn't forget. He's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
He played with me again, though, surprisingly. He must find it amusing.
It is amusing.
He wanted to see what kind of stupid stuff I do next, so. Man, what else did I do? Oh, so last night when I was streaming, I was taking a sip of my adult beverage while looking at the screen. Went to set it down on top of something. It tipped over and dumped directly into my new mechanical keyboard. Fried it. And it fried it to an extent that things started going nuts on my computer because keys were being activated and flashing and it completely foobarred my computer. Luckily it didn't kill the stream. So on stream I had to be like, hold on. Disconnect the keyboard, go dig another one out of the closet, plug it in, try to clean up all the beverage, and get back to stream. Meanwhile, I can hear in my headphone, alerts going off, people are subbing. I'm like, what is happening? It was the perfect thing to happen.
That's how it goes, man.
I'm going to go back and watch that stream.
Go watch the VOD. It's up now. It's not too far into the stream either. It's in the first hour this happened. I need to clip it because it was classic. So that was a thing. So that was my reset, guys. Pretty
Great reset.
Pretty awesome week. Yeah. Looking forward to, so this week coming up, man, it's going to be pretty quiet. So my plans last night when we were streaming, I decided I needed to get my last heavy kills in Trials of Osiris for my book. So we actually were able to force matchmake into a team of our friends. And we were super surprised because it happened first try. We just did a 3-2-1 and it matched us in. So Chuck my friend and a couple other players let us kill them with our swords.
You got into
for some heavy kills.
Trials that way?
Yeah, dude. I was
Really?
super
Wow.
surprised, and it happened first try.
I'm mad jealous.
Yeah, like
Dude,
that's an easy way to go to the lighthouse, isn't it?
I couldn't believe it. We made it work. It had to be just population related, like just the fact that there were not as many players trying to match. I don't know.
I guess.
It wouldn't work for the lighthouse though because they match you with people who have similar cards.
Right. But and we tried it like 3 more times and it didn't work after. We couldn't get it to work after that. But first time we did. So the next game, and I'm totally going to fess up to this. We just messaged the other team and we're like, look, we'll throw the game if you just let us get 5 heavy kills. And they're like, cool. So they were nice enough. Like we went to the heavy and they were just standing around lined up, ready to get slaughtered, pulled the heavy and danced and just killed them one by one.
Nice.
So I got my heavy kills and trials. I'm not ashamed to say I cheesed it. Because, geez.
I gotta do that still.
You only need like 5?
6?
6? Dude, we could do that like in 5 minutes tonight. Like it literally took 5 minutes. That's all it's going to take. Isn't that the only node you have to complete?
Out
of the whole book?
In Destiny 1.
Dude, you've got to be able to say like,
every node in
I
Destiny
completed
1.
every node. Like you have to be able to say that.
I know. I was thinking about that earlier when you were like, in order to get the rewards for Destiny 2, you need to have completed it. And I was like, by August 1st, I'm like, I swear to God, if they have a done every node in Destiny 1 by August 1st thing, I'm going to be so friggin' pissed.
Oh, man. That would be a good one, right? But, yeah, this week coming up, since it's going to be kind of a quiet week in Destiny, that is my plan to work on some of those nodes, because I've got about 3-4 weeks to finish it off. So I've got that hunter. I've got him up to level 40. I just need to get some like current light gear on him and just start running around killing stuff, you know, get those nodes filled up.
We also got to do the Kells Bells.
Yes, we talked about that. Maybe we should do that this week too. Yep. And then we're doing a pretty cool thing with IGN tomorrow night.
We are.
We can talk about that. We could plug that.
Actually, it'll be last night.
Yeah, that's correct. It'll happen before you get this. Monday, Destin Ligari over at IGN is doing a really cool PUBG project where I think they're doing both solo and duos, come to find out.
So I'm going to wreck you.
I can't wait.
Wreck you.
So he's basically trying to get 100 players, and we'll play multiple matches, and we're all going to submit the video of our experience as well as a webcam video, and then he's going to piece it together to kind of tell a story of the entire match, which seems really cool. So I can't wait to see how this turns out, but me and Blue are going to participate in that tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes.
Such a doof. I'm going to intentionally be the biggest doof.
Can we just troll everybody the whole time? Do you think you'd be mad?
I'm not going to troll people, but I'm going to be silly. Why would we troll people? We could do respect Niels if we need to.
Definitely respect Niels.
I feel very left out, you know.
Get a PC, you noob.
I have a PC.
Dude, this is becoming a thing. Like, literally
PUBGs,
everybody
man.
is getting PCs now. Like, every week, somebody else is like, I'm doing my build tonight, bro.
Do you know how big Photoshop is, though, and Illustrator and all that? I mean, that's what mine, that's all mine is taken up by.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, when you build a rig, dude, like hard drive space and RAM is cheap. That's the cheapest components that you can expand that as much as you want for like $100 a pop. Like that's what a decent hard drive is.
$100 in RAM will be like you never need to buy more RAM ever.
Oh yeah. Like that's how much my 16 gig of RAM cost me when I built. Was $100, and I can double it for another $100 to 32.
I've watched PUBG. I've never played it, but I've watched enough streamers play it. It looks pretty fun.
It's strangely addictive, dude.
We've said PUBGs enough times tonight for me to want to play PUBG.
Like we're gonna play PUBG when we get off.
I'm gonna go to bed.
We're gonna watch Game of Thrones and play PUBG,
and then finish your trials book.
Finish your trials card, and then call in sick to work. Yeah,
we got a whole night set up ahead of us here. And we just want you to be a part of
I
it.
just need you to hire me, Cyborg, so that we can play games late at night.
Can you give me a job so I can
I'm gonna be late tomorrow. Why are you gonna be late tomorrow? Because it's 3 a.m. and we're still playing video games. Come on, boss. This is kind of your fault.
All right. Yeah, I'll let you come in. You get to work at 10. One day maybe I will hire you for that. I always had this idea that if I ever became rich, I wanted to hire my best friend to work for me so that he would have to hang out with me 24/7.
That is the most depressing thing I've ever heard.
But in a way that enabled it to happen, not like that he wouldn't, because he would. But if he worked for me, he could. It'd be like, Rob and Big. Kind of like they work.
Oh, too soon, man. Too soon.
Oh, you're right, dude. That is too soon.
Too soon, man.
That's actually makes me sad.
Do work, son.
Ouch. One of my best friends, he's like twice my size. So I was like, I'll just hire him as my bodyguard. But really, we'll just go play paintball all the time.
So let's see. Twice his size. Wants to be around him all the time. Can't confirm. I need your help here, Jay Howard. I'm officially his best friend.
I was thinking that. I wasn't going to say
True story.
Because yet again, I feel very left out. If that's
you and my real life best friend Blue are very, very similar people, which I think explains a lot. You're both really big dudes. You both are into fighting, like MMA and jiu-jitsu. You have the same exact personality types.
I think it is you, Blue. Don't worry about it. Don't listen
you're
to
actually
him.
just a replacement.
Pretty great.
You're just a rebound best friend.
Wow, when you word it like that, it makes me hate you.
Bestie.
I'm just kidding. I love you, buddy. All right.
Jay Howard, I'm on the hunt for a new best friend.
Jay Howard's a pretty good friend. I'll give him that.
Yeah, well, I can get people to draw things for you and stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of perks that come along with it. Like, you remember that thing we were talking about earlier? You won't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that won't be a problem.
And I look like George Clooney, according to him. Don't
bring your girlfriend and/or wife near him, though. See, that's where the trouble starts happening.
We went over that at GuardianCon, but I'm not a homewrecker.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm being completely facetious.
This is true.
Jay Howard is a completely honorable man and would never try to steal anyone's girlfriend or wife.
No.
Or best friend.
I didn't say that.
I just heard you're on the market now, Blue. So, I mean.
You're just striking while the iron's hot, man.
Yeah, you got to.
I don't blame you. I'm a pretty great best friend.
He's a good guy.
Sometimes I'll stop hanging out with the lady to talk to you about a podcast if needed.
True story, man.
Mine's sleeping. I'm going to get in trouble when I go upstairs. I know that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's okay.
All right. Well, it sounds like we had a great reset. It's time to wrap this show up. Let's go first, though, to some Derp Fam discourse.
What?
I need a soundboard. We got a bunch of speak pipes. I totally do. We got some speak pipes this week. Again, I've got a few emails and speak pipes that I've held because they're good topics to talk about, but we got to fit them in, and I wanted to make sure AER0KNIGHT was present for some of them. So if you have not heard your email or speak pipe in DerpFam Discord, please give us your patience. We will play it. But first up, we got one from our buddy Freezerburn. Let's take a listen.
What's going on, Derp Fam? It is Freezerburn here, and I had a great time playing everything in the beta. It was a blast, and then being able to hear you guys talk about it was awesome. So, first of all, thank you for your continued work and just making a very entertaining show. But I had a thought about the supers and the recharge rate of all that stuff, and how at the end of a countdown match, all the supers would be used at the same time, and there was really no strategy involved. So I was thinking, why not start every round or every game of countdown with your super, and you don't have to use it right away. You can save it until everyone else uses it, but it would just be a way to make sure that everyone got to use their super and to have fun with it in every match. And I just thought that would be an interesting thing to discuss. All right, guys. Well, I'm actually keep up the good work, and a Titan Striker Masterclass out.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I can get behind that one.
You really you like that? See, I didn't think anybody would buy into this idea for like
what the idea of actually being able to use a super in Destiny 2. I
No,
know
but
nobody nobody thought that was a good idea.
Think
so that's why they
about
got
the
rid of it.
logistics here. If you start with a super, what's going to happen in the first round? Like,
Then let them
it's
blow
gonna
their
go
supers
down, dude.
Yeah, but I'd rather it go down in the beginning of the game and have the option. Like, I'm not just going to run out there and just throw it away. Some people might do that.
Mhm.
If people want to do that, that gives me the advantage. So now you got to be tactical. The whole game is built around teamwork and tactics now. It's not just run around and shoot people anymore. It's built around almost a hero shooter mentality of how are you going to play together. And if a 4-man team runs out and it's like, we're all Arc Striders and we're all coming for you. It's like, okay, cool. You got a couple kills out of it. Now we're coming back at you and we have supers. So you got to worry because you're not going to have them again until the end of the game.
Yeah.
So I like it.
But I mean, if I'm trying to be smart about this, I'm going to use it in the first round so I can get another one. Because if it's full, you're not building a new super. But if you use it in the first round to good effect, then you've given yourself the opportunity to get another one by the end of the game.
Well, true, but isn't one of the things that people were constantly talking about is how they think that it's cool that people have to think about when they have to use their supers?
Yeah. That's a
So
good point.
if you use it in the first round, yeah, cool, you might get a second one, but if you get
Maybe.
I'm still going to call them alts because Overwatch.
Alts.
If you solo alt twice and you get 2 kills, congratulations, you just got 2 kills.
Yeah.
However, if you have that one and you hold on to it and you see 4 of them taking B all at the same time, or that's countdown, but if you see 4 of them trying to take the what the heck were they called? The bomb point, the planting the bomb, whatever it was.
Charge.
It doesn't.
Is that what it was
It
called?
doesn't matter. It's the same concept. It's just a different title, different game.
Yeah.
And you see 3 or 4 of them right there, and you come in with your Titan Smash or whatever it is you're using. You're gonna put some hurt down with a single alt or super. My gosh, I'm gonna piss so many people off.
Yeah, a lot of nerds
know,
like throwing stuff at their iPod right now. Like,
Seriously,
it's a
oh my
super.
gosh, it's been a super since 2014. Get it together, Blue Ranger. Gosh, this is why he's not a permanent co-host yet. Sorry, I'm calling it out because Twitter's gonna call it out if I don't. I don't think that's a good idea.
J.
Anyway,
Howard, what do you think?
I didn't play the beta, so I don't know the heartbreak of not having super.
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I think that if you have super, as long as, I think people will figure it out. Like, people will turn it into a chess match no matter what. Even if it's a little more fast paced, I think they will. And even though you probably think that everyone's just going to use their supers all right away, I think that it'll start to get strategic with how they're
I
going to
could
do it.
imagine a mode where you've got like a hardcore mode that's more akin to what we played in the beta, and timers and cooldowns on abilities are a lot longer. And then you've got like a casual mode that's more akin to Destiny 1, where countdowns and supers are more attainable. There's more of them. Not quite mayhem, because that's mayhem, but something in between where it's a little more casual and you get to have a little more fun. And I would see this fitting into that. I don't think we'll ever see that happen, but I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Good. Cool question, though. I mean, cool idea, Freezer Burn. Like, I completely appreciate
Absolutely.
the concept, because I think thinking outside of the parameters we were given is how we can provide good feedback to the developers. So, all right, next up, we've got a speak pipe from our good friend BitDead. Back again. He always gives the best speak pipes. I love to hear him speak. Let's take a listen.
What's up, boys? How you doing? It's BitDead here. I listen to a lot of Destiny podcasts. In fact, I listen to a lot of podcasts full stop. I listen to 50 odd every week. And I hear a lot of talk about the raid and when that's going to come out and when people are going to think is maybe, And it got me thinking, obviously Bungie said that they're going to release the raid to the same sort of timescale as what the previous ones have come out. Now, they've just obviously moved the release date to the Wednesday. And do you think they've removed that release date deliberately so they can bring the raid out on the Friday? Or maybe give you a few more days and bring it out on the Tuesday? I don't know what day they normally bring the raid out on. It's not something I normally do. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think, what kind of day you think that they're going to bring it out, or whether that sounds like a stupid idea. Anyway, guys, keep up the great work. Dirt fam, you know I love you. Keep up the amazing work, everyone. Stay amazing, and I'll talk to you soon. Laters.
All right, man, this is a great topic because this is a point of contention. I've talked for sure with you about this, Blue, and a lot of people I've heard discuss this. When do you guys think the raid is going to come out?
Hopefully in October. I stand by that. I know that's not what we're going to get, but I would love to see it.
What do you think, jh0ward?
I don't know. Like, they're extending them out farther and farther now, aren't they? Because, I mean, well, they're not going to treat this like D1. I'm sure this is going to be like its own thing. So I would probably say around October, November. I don't know.
So originally in Destiny 1, I think the Vault of Glass came out maybe 3 to 4 weeks after the content released. And then following that, we saw that in-game content with the Taken King and with Rise of Iron. The raids dropped the immediate weekend following the release. So it was like 3, 4, 5 days after the content dropped. And the problem with that is that everyone who wanted to participate in that activity, or they wanted to compete in that activity for World's First, etc., they had to power level their butts off and just grind the game all week and inevitably lose some enjoyment of the experience because they had to work at the game, as opposed to taking it at their own pace, playing what they wanted to play. Like, they had to really just grind it out and kind of lose part of the experience that they would want in order to compete in that activity or just to be at the appropriate level. And I think that the hope for a lot of people is that we'll at least see like a week or so before this happens. But what they have said is that while they didn't say it'll come out on X day, they said it will be similar to previous releases.
We don't even know how these raids are going to be, though. Like, how in-depth they are, how big they're going to be, how long they're going to even take to make. You know, they might push these out, you know, a month or later. I think that they will. I mean, if they're going to make it like the last couple of releases, then I would agree with you where people are going to be turned off by it because they're going to have to power level from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I basically ruined Rise of Iron for myself because I actually did a World's First attempt run with some of the Crucible Radio crew back in the day before I found my home with the dirt thing. And basically we needed to be of, you know, respectable light by the time that the raid came out 3 days later, and I basically didn't sleep for 3 days.
Yeah.
And then I got to the raid team, and 2 of the people in the raid were not raid ready, and it was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So it was like totally wasted for me.
Yeah, that sucks. And that can be a very real thing where, okay, maybe some people are ready to grind, but some people either didn't or couldn't, and they show up on raid day and they're not ready. So, it takes a lot of coordination and dedication for 6 people to get to that point to where they're like fully competitive. So I think some of it might have to do with, well, what is the progression system going to be like? How easy is it going to be able to reach the required light or level that they need for the raid to be competitive? You know, that whole economy can play a point in that, but also like how much content is there going to be? We know it's going to be a lot more than say, Destiny 1 or the Taken King. So, I don't want to rush through that stuff. Like, I'm not going to like lackadaisically kind of meander around, but I want to take it in and enjoy it, before I have to rush into the raid. So I certainly hope that we get some time, like at least a week 2 weeks would be awesome. Anything beyond that would be just lagniappe and even better. So
I just want to be able to enjoy the content and then be able to do a blind raid, because I'm going to be that broken record of that the people who constantly say, if you've never done a raid blind, do it. I had never done a raid blind until I got to Wrath of the Machine, and I actually figured out some of that first fight. Not the very first one, but the one with the monitors.
Yeah. On your own.
I actually figured out how the rooms worked and figured out the monitors for that fight. And so it was like, oh man, like I felt so cool.
Yeah.
And I want that experience, but especially as a streamer and even someone who has a Twitter account, I'm going to have a lot of stuff ruined for me.
I would hope though that with the release of the game that they're going to give everybody time to at least, I mean, because we don't know anything about the game itself yet. I mean, we played the beta, but they should at least give us more than a week to start exploring this new game, and try to get to the story and everything.
So. Well, we'll see, man. It's a great question, BitDad. I think it's going to be a question everybody's going to have, especially in the lead up to the release. And hopefully they'll give us a good answer that we'll like to hear when it's time. So, all right, we got one more speak pipe from our ambassador, Matty Misfit. He's got something to announce. Let's take a quick listen.
Greetings, Guardians. This is Matty Misfit here. Just wanted to let the podcasting listening fam know that we are having our second annual DC Derp Fam meetup at Church Key in DC on 14th Street on August 13th. That's a Sunday at 2 p.m. Again, at Church Key in DC. So I encourage anybody who is able to come out on Sunday, August 13th at 2 p.m. to try and make it. We have a pretty solid core group of us here in the DC DMV area. Super excited to see everybody. I hope to see you there.
All right, Matty, thank you, dude, for making sure to plug that. I would encourage everyone to attend this meetup if you are on the East Coast and it is within reason for you to go there. There will be some great Guardians. Again, that is in DC at Church Key, August the 13th at 2 p.m. That's a Sunday. That's this coming weekend for you. Go hang out with some other cool Guardians. You guys got any other discourse or shout outs before we wrap this up?
I always just give the shout outs the same that I really appreciate what everybody, Derp Fam and beyond, how much support they've now given me and my whole art crew on Twitter and everything else. So I'm very appreciative of that and continued to be appreciative of support that you guys are giving me as far as letting me work on your designs and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Lots of love to give.
So much love.
So much love.
Speaking of love, we're getting some love from our patrons because we've got a Patreon. If you're not familiar, that's a place where you can support content creators financially. And we got a couple new patrons this week. One would be Peacemaker, and the other, I'm going to try my best on this name, man. I think it's Devo Hagen or Devo Hagen. Thank you guys for your support. If you'd like to be a patron, you can do so by going to patreon.com/DestinyReset, and as little as $1 a month can make a difference. Our goal is to raise funds to help support the production of the show. It does cost money to do that. We're trying to make some improvements as well. And everything that our patrons are doing is honestly, it's actually helping a lot right now for a lot of things that we used to kind of weigh in our pockets to do. So we want to give you guys a thank you. And if you're a patron, you get a couple bonuses. You'll get a special banner that Mr. J. Howard is actually working on that you'll be able to display on your Twitter or anywhere else. How's that coming along, Jason? Is it going pretty good?
It's coming out good.
Okay, good. And then also you'll get early access to a non-Destiny related podcast that Arrow and I will be putting together in the very near future. It will probably come out around quarterly, and you'll get to listen to that first before anybody else. And then also you get your gamer tag placed on our website in a special section for our patrons, as well as a shout out on the show. So thank you to all of our patrons on Patreon. All right, guys, this is the end of the show. this is the part where you tell me where we can find you, J. Howard.
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, everywhere else at jh0ward414. The O is a 0.
There you go.
Yep. And that's pretty much where you can find me about anything that has to do with my art, my art group, anything like that. Or if you just want to razz me for being a horrible Destiny player, that's where you get a hold of me.
You can do that. Where can people find DCA?
We are at DestinyComArt is our Twitter, and you can basically kind of see what all the artists are doing, anybody who gets featured on Bungie, anything like that. And if you want to actually be a part of our Discord, we do allow group passes or guest passes, and for anybody. And so you can get a hold of me on my Twitter account or through the DestinyComArt Twitter, and you can request to join in with us. So,
and especially so if you're an artist and want to be a part of the group.
Yep, definitely
a great place to start. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate having you on and all the things that you do for the community.
It was a long time coming. I've been waiting to do this one for a while, so I'm very happy to have joined you guys tonight.
Well, we're glad to have you, man. Blue, where can people find you?
Pretty much if you were to Google I'm the Blue Ranger, you're going to find me. So anywhere on the internet that's I'm the Blue Ranger, and if you're feeling real squirrely, you can sub to my Twitch at twitch.tv/CyborgSasquatch.
Be sure to give Blue Ranger a sub again at twitch.tv/CyborgSasquatch.
So good.
No, for real, you should drop Blue a sub. He's a great content creator. He's an awesome streamer, friend, and supporter of the Derp fam. So be sure to drop him a follow, at least on Twitter and Twitch. Finally, you can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter or twitch.tv/ImTheBlueRanger. And then you can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter. And you can find us as well, if you want it, on the web at www.destinyresetpodcast.com. That's your source for all things DRP, including links to subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice. Be sure to do that, and you can automatically have these wonderful Guardians in your ears every week without any trouble or hassle. Make your life easier. Drop us a sub. All right, guys. That is all for this week. We've got one iTunes review. Thank you, Tommy Stern, for the iTunes review. We love your iTunes reviews, guys. It honestly means so much. Like every time we see a new one, Aaron and I text me and he's like, "Oh, check out the iTunes review." We get such a boost from what you guys have to say, including the feedback that has helped us improve the show. So if you are listening to us on iTunes, please go leave us a review. It helps us get seen by more listeners. I know that doesn't make sense, but if you're searching for something, you see it, you don't listen to it. And yeah, that's it, guys. You ready to wrap this thing up and get out of here?
Let's do it.
You guys have a busy night ahead of you guys. I don't.
We do. We got some plans. So
yeah.
Until next week, have fun playing Destiny and take care, Guardians.
Stop.
Collaborate
and listen.
Ice is back.
Ice is back.
Brand new adventure.
Something.
Grab a hold of me tightly.
Flows like a harpoon.
Playing day and nightly.
Will it ever stop?
No.
I can't do this.